Welcome, dear friends, to a journey through the book of Proverbs, a journey through time and wisdom. Imagine stepping back millennia into the bustling marketplaces of ancient Israel. The air is thick with the scent of spices, the sound of bartering, the vibrant tapestry of life itself. Amidst this vibrant scene, a king imparts wisdom to his son. This is the essence of Proverbs, a book woven from threads of timeless wisdom, passed down through generations. It's a book that speaks to the human experience, to the challenges and triumphs we all face. Proverbs is a beacon of light guiding us toward a life of purpose and meaning. It's a book that transcends time and culture. The wisdom of Proverbs resonates just as deeply today as it did thousands of years ago. It speaks to the very core of who we are, offering guidance for navigating the complexities of life. We invite you to embark on this journey with open hearts and minds. Let us delve into the rich tapestry of Proverbs, uncovering its hidden gems and timeless truths.
Proverbs, a book nestled in the heart of the Bible, is a treasure trove of wisdom. It's a collection of short, pithy sayings, each one a pearl of wisdom waiting to be discovered. These sayings, like polished stones, reflect the light of truth in multifaceted ways. They touch upon every aspect of human experience, relationships, work, wealth, and the very essence of character. Proverbs doesn't shy away from the complexities of life. It embraces them, offering guidance for navigating its twists and turns. Imagine Proverbs as a compass, a guide for living a life of purpose and meaning. It points us towards integrity, honesty, and compassion. It warns us against the pitfalls of greed, envy, and pride. The beauty of Proverbs lies in its universality. Its wisdom transcends time and culture, speaking to the shared human experience. Whether you're a king or a commoner, young or old, the wisdom of Proverbs has something to offer.
Even in our modern world with its rapid pace and technological advancements, the wisdom of Proverbs remains strikingly relevant. It's a testament to the enduring nature of truth, its ability to transcend time and circumstance. We live in a world saturated with information, yet often starved for wisdom. Proverbs offers us a refreshing alternative, a source of timeless guidance that speaks to the deepest longings of the human heart. The challenges we face today, from relationship issues to ethical dilemmas, often have their roots in the same human frailties that Proverbs addresses. The book's insights into human nature, its understanding of temptation and sin, remain as relevant as ever. Proverbs reminds us that true success isn't measured by material wealth or social status, but by the content of our character. It's a message that resonates deeply in a world often obsessed with superficial measures of worth.
But how do we unlock the treasures of Proverbs? How do we bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern application? The answer lies in approaching Proverbs with a spirit of humility and a willingness to learn. Proverbs isn't meant to be a book of rigid rules or formulas for success. Instead, it's an invitation to reflect, to ponder, to engage in a dialogue with wisdom itself. Each proverb is like a seed, containing within it the potential for growth and transformation. But just as a seed needs fertile soil and nourishment to grow, so too does the wisdom of Proverbs need to be planted in the fertile ground of our hearts and minds. As we read and reflect on these ancient sayings, we begin to see their relevance to our own lives. We begin to understand how their timeless truths can guide us in our relationships, our work, and our personal growth.
Section 5. The Language of Proverbs, Poetry in Motion. The book of Proverbs is not just a collection of wise sayings, it's poetry in motion. Its language is rich with imagery, metaphor, and parallelism, painting vivid pictures that capture the imagination and stir the soul. The writers of Proverbs were masters of language, using words to paint pictures, evoke emotions, and convey profound truths in memorable ways. Consider the proverb, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." The imagery is striking. A gentle answer, like a soothing balm, calming the flames of anger. A harsh word, like a burning ember, igniting a firestorm. This poetic language isn't just for aesthetic pleasure, it serves a deeper purpose. It makes the wisdom of Proverbs memorable, helping us to internalize its truths and apply them to our lives.
Section 6, Proverbs and the Tapestry of Scripture. The book of Proverbs doesn't stand alone in the biblical narrative. It's intricately woven into the tapestry of Scripture, its wisdom echoing throughout both the Old and New Testaments. The teachings of Proverbs find their roots in the law of Moses, the wisdom literature of the ancient Near East, and the very heart of God Himself. Jesus Himself, the embodiment of wisdom, often spoke in Proverbs, using pithy sayings to convey profound spiritual truths. His teachings on forgiveness, humility, and love echo the timeless wisdom found in Proverbs. Understanding the interconnectedness of Scripture enhances our appreciation for Proverbs. It allows us to see how its wisdom complements and enriches other parts of the Bible, revealing a unified and harmonious message.
Section 7. A Journey Through Life, Guided by Wisdom. Our journey through Proverbs is not merely an intellectual exercise. It's an invitation to embark on a transformative journey guided by wisdom. It's a journey that begins in the mind but ultimately takes root in the heart, shaping our character and guiding our actions. As we immerse ourselves in the wisdom of Proverbs, we embark on a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery. We begin to see the world through a different lens, a lens that values integrity over expediency, compassion over judgment, and humility over pride. This journey isn't always easy. It requires us to confront our own shortcomings, to challenge our assumptions, and to embrace the process of continual growth and transformation. But the rewards are immeasurable.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin. And I know it's never
Section 8. Preparing our hearts for the journey ahead. As we stand at the threshold of this journey through Proverbs, let us prepare our hearts and minds to receive its wisdom. Let us approach this ancient text with a spirit of humility, eager to learn and grow. The journey ahead is filled with promise, the promise of greater understanding, deeper wisdom, and a more meaningful life. Let us embark on this adventure together, allowing the timeless wisdom of Proverbs to illuminate our paths and guide our steps as we navigate the complexities of life and strive to live with purpose, meaning, and integrity. The wisdom of the ages awaits. Let us open our hearts and minds to its transformative power.
Section 1. The Call to Wisdom, Proverbs 1. The book of Proverbs begins with a compelling call to wisdom. Proverbs 1 stands as an invitation to embrace a life of wisdom, which starts with the fear of the Lord. This reverent awe of God is described as the foundation of knowledge. The first chapter introduces us to the voice of wisdom personified as a woman calling out in the public squares. She pleads with the simple and the foolish to turn from their ways and embrace knowledge. Wisdom is accessible to all who are willing to listen and learn. Embracing wisdom leads to safety and peace.
Section 2. The Value of Understanding, Proverbs 2. Proverbs 2 delves deeper into the value of understanding and the pursuit of wisdom. It paints a vivid picture of the diligent search for wisdom, likening it to the search for hidden treasures. This imagery underscores the idea that wisdom and understanding are not easily obtained. They require effort, dedication, and a sincere desire to learn. The chapter highlights the rewards of seeking wisdom. Those who search for it will find knowledge of God and gain an understanding of righteousness and justice. The pursuit of wisdom is described as a journey that leads to moral and ethical clarity, providing guidance for navigating life's complex decisions. The benefits of wisdom are numerous. It protects, guards, and preserves those who embrace it. Proverbs 2 also emphasizes the role of God in granting wisdom. It reminds us that wisdom comes from the Lord, and that He grants it to those who earnestly seek it. This divine aspect of wisdom highlights the importance of a relationship with God in the pursuit of understanding. It is through His guidance that we can discern right from wrong and make choices that align with His will. As we reflect on this chapter, we are encouraged to actively seek wisdom and understanding in our own lives. It challenges us to prioritize our spiritual growth and to cultivate a deep relationship with God. By doing so, we can navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence, knowing that we are guided by divine wisdom.
Section 3, The Blessings of Wisdom, Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3 is a chapter rich with practical advice and promises of blessings for those who embrace wisdom. It begins with a call to remember and follow the teachings of wisdom, emphasizing that they bring life, peace, and prosperity. This chapter underscores the idea that wisdom is not just about intellectual knowledge but about living a life that reflects God's principles. One of the key themes in Proverbs 3 is the importance of trust in the Lord. Verses 5 to 6 are particularly well known and cherished. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. This passage highlights the importance of relying on God's wisdom rather than our own limited understanding. It assures us that when we trust in Him, He will guide us and direct our paths. The chapter also speaks of the blessings that come from humility and generosity. It encourages us to honor the Lord with our wealth, promising that we will be blessed with abundance. It also reminds us that the Lord disciplines those He loves, framing discipline as a sign of God's care and a means for our growth. As we reflect on Proverbs 3, we are reminded of the holistic nature of wisdom. It encompasses trust in God, humility, generosity, and a willingness to accept correction. By embracing these principles, we open ourselves to the blessings of wisdom, experiencing a life of peace, prosperity, and divine guidance.
Section 4. The Importance of Discernment, Proverbs 4. Proverbs 4 focuses on the importance of discernment and the urgency of holding on to wisdom. The chapter begins with a father's earnest plea to his children to listen to his instruction and gain understanding. This paternal advice emphasizes the value of intergenerational wisdom, passed down from one generation to the next. The chapter vividly describes wisdom as a path, urging us to stay on the path of the righteous and avoid the way of the wicked. It uses imagery of light and darkness to contrast these two paths. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. In contrast, the way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. Proverbs 4 also highlights the need to guard our hearts, for everything we do flows from it. This metaphor suggests that our inner life, our thoughts, attitudes, and desires, shapes our actions and ultimately our destiny. The chapter instructs us to keep our mouths free of perversity and our eyes fixed straight ahead, reinforcing the idea that wisdom requires focus and discipline. As we reflect on this chapter, we are encouraged to develop discernment in our own lives. It calls us to be vigilant in our choices, to stay on the path of righteousness, and to guard our hearts against influences that lead us astray. By doing so, we ensure that our lives reflect the light of wisdom, guiding us towards a future filled with hope and integrity.
Section 5. Avoiding the Path of the Wicked, Proverbs 5. Proverbs 5 provides a stern warning against the dangers of adultery and the seductive allure of immorality. The chapter begins with a father's earnest plea to his son to listen to wisdom and gain understanding. This advice is framed as a means of protection against the enticing words of the adulterous woman. The imagery used in this chapter is vivid and cautionary. The lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil, but in the end, she is bitter as gall and sharp as a double-edged sword. This stark contrast between appearance and reality serves as a warning that not everything that appears sweet is good for us. The path of immorality leads to regret and ruin. Proverbs 5 also emphasizes the importance of faithfulness and the value of marital love. It encourages us to rejoice in the spouse of our youth and to find satisfaction within the bounds of marriage. This focus on fidelity underscores the idea that true fulfillment and joy come from committed, loving relationships rather than fleeting pleasures. As we reflect on this chapter, we are reminded of the importance of integrity in our personal relationships. It calls us to be vigilant against temptations that can lead us astray and to value the commitments we have made. By doing so, we protect ourselves from the pain and consequences of infidelity and build a foundation of trust and love in our relationships.
Section 6. The Dangers of Adultery. Proverbs 6. Proverbs 6 continues the theme of warning against adultery, but it also expands to address other forms of folly and misconduct. The chapter begins with advice on avoiding financial entanglements and irresponsible commitments. It warns against becoming surety for another's debt, highlighting the potential pitfalls of such financial obligations. The chapter also addresses the characteristics of the sluggard, using vivid imagery to describe the consequences of laziness. It encourages us to observe the ant, which works diligently to gather food in the summer and prepares for the future. This metaphor underscores the value of hard work and foresight, warning that laziness leads to poverty and want. Proverbs 6 then returns to the theme of adultery, describing it as a destructive force that brings ruin and disgrace. It uses strong language to convey the seriousness of this sin, comparing it to fire that burns and destroys. The chapter emphasizes that the consequences of adultery are severe and far-reaching, affecting not just the individual, but their family and community as well. As we reflect on this chapter, we are reminded of the importance of responsibility and integrity in all aspects of our lives. It calls us to be diligent in our work, cautious in our financial dealings, and faithful in our relationships. By embracing these principles, we protect ourselves and those we love from the destructive consequences of folly and misconduct.
Section 7. The Allure of Temptation. Proverbs 7. Proverbs 7 provides a detailed and dramatic depiction of the allure of temptation and the dire consequences of succumbing to it. The chapter is structured as a father's warning to his son, urging him to keep his words and store up his commands. This advice is framed as a means of protection against the seductive allure of the adulterous woman. The narrative paints a vivid picture of a young man lacking judgment, who is lured into a trap by the enticing words and seductive appearance of the adulterous woman. She is described as dressed like a prostitute with crafty intent. Her speech is persuasive, filled with flattery and promises of pleasure, yet her path leads to death and destruction. The chapter emphasizes the importance of wisdom as a safeguard against temptation. It calls us to bind wisdom to our hearts, to make it an integral part of our lives. By doing so, we can recognize and resist the deceptive allure of temptation, avoiding the pitfalls that lead to ruin. As we reflect on Proverbs 7, we are reminded of the importance of vigilance and discernment in our own lives. It challenges us to be aware of the seductive nature of temptation, and to rely on the wisdom of God to guide our choices. By embracing wisdom, we can protect ourselves from the destructive consequences of succumbing to temptation and live lives of integrity and righteousness.
Section 8. Wisdom's Invitation. Proverbs 8. Proverbs 8 shifts from warnings about folly to a celebration of wisdom. This chapter personifies wisdom as a woman calling out to humanity, inviting all to embrace her teachings. Unlike the seductive and destructive allure of the adulterous woman, wisdom's invitation is pure, noble, and life-giving. The chapter describes wisdom as being present from the beginning of creation, highlighting her foundational role in the world. Her voice is heard in the highest places, at the crossroads, and at the entrances of the city, symbolizing her accessibility and universal relevance. Wisdom offers insight, understanding, and prudence, promising that those who embrace her will find life and favor from the Lord. Proverbs 8 emphasizes the value and benefits of wisdom. It describes wisdom as more precious than rubies, offering riches, honor, enduring wealth, and righteousness. Wisdom leads in the way of righteousness, along the paths of justice, ensuring that those who follow her will live lives of integrity and prosperity. As we reflect on this chapter, we are encouraged to heed wisdom's invitation in our own lives. It calls us to seek and value wisdom above all else, recognizing its transformative power. By embracing wisdom, we align ourselves with the divine order of creation, experiencing the fullness of life and favor that comes from living in harmony with God's principles.
Section 9. The Way of Wisdom, Proverbs 9. Proverbs 9 presents a vivid contrast between the way of wisdom and the way of folly. The chapter begins with wisdom building her house, preparing a banquet, and sending out her maidservants to invite all to come and partake. This imagery of a feast symbolizes the richness and abundance that wisdom offers. It is an open invitation to all who are willing to leave their simple ways and gain understanding. The second part of the chapter personifies folly as a loud, undisciplined woman who also calls out to the simple, offering stolen water and food eaten in secret. This imagery highlights the deceptive and ultimately destructive nature of folly. While it may seem sweet and enticing, it leads to death and destruction. Proverbs 9 emphasizes the importance of choosing the way of wisdom. It reminds us that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and that knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. This foundational principle reiterates that true wisdom starts with a reverent relationship with God, and that this relationship guides us in making wise choices. As we reflect on this chapter, we are reminded of the choices we face in our own lives between wisdom and folly. It calls us to discernment, to recognize the true nature of the paths before us, and to choose the way of wisdom. By doing so, we can partake in the richness and abundance that wisdom offers, living lives that reflect the fullness of God's blessings.
Section 10. The Proverbs of Solomon. Proverbs 10. Proverbs 10 marks the beginning of the Proverbs of Solomon, a collection of individual sayings that cover a wide range of topics. This chapter introduces a series of contrasts between the righteous and the wicked, emphasizing the outcomes of their respective ways of life. The sayings in Proverbs 10 highlight the value of righteousness, integrity, and diligence. They emphasize that the righteous person is blessed, their words are a fountain of life, and their actions bring joy and prosperity. In contrast, the wicked person faces ruin, their words are destructive, and their actions lead to sorrow and loss. The chapter also highlights the importance of our words and actions. It reminds us that our speech has the power to build up or tear down, and that our actions reflect our character. By choosing righteousness, we align ourselves with God's principles and experience the blessings that come from living in harmony with His will. As we reflect on Proverbs 10, we are encouraged to examine our own lives and consider the outcomes of our choices. It calls us to embrace righteousness, integrity, and diligence, recognizing that these qualities lead to a life of blessing and fulfillment. By doing so, we can experience the joy and prosperity that come from living according to God's wisdom.
Section 11. The Weight of Words, Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11 delves into the power of our words, highlighting their potential to build up or tear down. The chapter begins by contrasting dishonest scales with honest weights, emphasizing the importance of integrity in all our dealings. Just as dishonest business practices erode trust and lead to ruin, so too do deceitful words damage relationships and undermine our credibility. The chapter emphasizes that the words of the righteous are life-giving. They offer counsel, encouragement, and hope. In contrast, the gossip, slander, and lies of the wicked are like poison, spreading destruction and discord wherever they go. Proverbs 11 reminds us that our words have consequences. They can either be a source of blessing or a weapon of destruction. This chapter challenges us to examine the content of our conversations. Are our words characterized by kindness, truth, and encouragement, or are they laced with gossip, negativity, and deceit? Proverbs 11 calls us to be mindful of the weight of our words, using them to build others up and to promote peace and understanding. As we strive to live by the wisdom of this chapter, we cultivate a spirit of integrity in our communication. We choose our words carefully, speaking with grace and truth, and using our voices to make a positive impact on the world around us.
Section 2. The value of humility. Proverbs 12. Proverbs 12 shifts its focus to the importance of humility, contrasting it with the destructive nature of pride. The chapter begins by stating that whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. This sets the tone for the chapter, emphasizing that humility is essential for growth and wisdom. The chapter highlights the blessings that come with humility. The humble seek wisdom and guidance, recognizing that they don't have all the answers. They are teachable, willing to learn from their mistakes and from others. This openness to learning leads to greater understanding and wisdom. In contrast, the proud are often blinded by their own self-importance. They resist correction, clinging to their own opinions even when they are wrong. This resistance to learning hinders their growth and often leads to poor decisions and negative consequences. Proverbs 12 reminds us that true strength lies not in arrogance or self-promotion, but in humility. It is in acknowledging our limitations and being open to learning that we grow in wisdom and character. Humility is not weakness. It is the foundation for true greatness.
Section 3. The importance of integrity. Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13 centers on the theme of integrity, emphasizing its importance in all aspects of life. The chapter begins by stating that a righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. This sets the tone for the entire chapter, highlighting that integrity is fundamental to a life of righteousness. The chapter contrasts the righteous with the wicked, emphasizing the different outcomes of their choices. Those who live with integrity experience security and blessing. Their lives are characterized by stability and peace of mind, knowing that they are living in alignment with their values. In contrast, those who embrace dishonesty and deceit ultimately reap the consequences of their actions. Their lives are marked by instability, anxiety, and a lack of true fulfillment. Proverbs 13 reminds us that integrity is not just about doing the right thing when it's easy, but about remaining true to our values even when it's difficult. This chapter challenges us to examine our own lives. Are we living with integrity in all areas, from our personal relationships to our professional dealings? Proverbs 13 reminds us that true success is not measured by material wealth or social status, but by the content of our character.
Section 4. The power of patience. Proverbs 14. Proverbs 14 explores the power of patience, contrasting it with the destructiveness of anger and hasty decisions. The chapter begins by stating that the wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands. This imagery highlights the importance of patience and careful planning in building a strong and stable life. The chapter emphasizes that patience is a mark of wisdom. The patient are able to control their emotions, responding to situations with calmness and reason rather than reacting impulsively. This ability to exercise self-control allows them to navigate challenges effectively and to make wise decisions. In contrast, the impatient often act rashly, allowing their emotions to dictate their behavior. This lack of self-control often leads to poor judgment, strained relationships, and missed opportunities. Proverbs 14 reminds us that patience is not passivity, but a form of strength. This chapter challenges us to cultivate patience in our own lives. Are we quick to anger or easily frustrated? Do we make hasty decisions or take the time to carefully consider our options? Proverbs 14 encourages us to embrace patience as a virtue, recognizing its power to transform our lives and relationships.
Section 5, The Trap of Anger. Proverbs 15 delves into the destructive nature of anger, contrasting it with the peace that comes from a gentle spirit. The chapter begins by stating that a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. This proverb highlights the power of our words and the importance of choosing them carefully, especially in the heat of the moment. The chapter emphasizes that anger is a trap. It clouds our judgment, leading us to say and do things we later regret. It damages relationships, creates division, and hinders our ability to communicate effectively. Proverbs 15 reminds us that anger is often a symptom of a deeper issue, such as pride, insecurity, or a lack of self-control. In contrast, a gentle spirit is a source of strength and peace. Those who are slow to anger exhibit self-control and wisdom. They are able to diffuse tense situations, promote understanding, and maintain healthy relationships. Proverbs 15 challenges us to cultivate a gentle spirit, recognizing its power to transform our lives and interactions with others. This chapter encourages us to examine our own hearts. Are we easily angered or prone to holding grudges? Do our words and actions reflect a spirit of gentleness and peace? Proverbs 15 reminds us that true strength lies not in our ability to overpower others with anger, but in our capacity to control our emotions and respond with wisdom and grace.
Section 6, The Blessing of Humility. Proverbs 16 continues to emphasize the importance of humility, highlighting its role in our relationship with God and with others. The chapter begins with a powerful statement. The preparations of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. This proverb reminds us that while we can plan and strategize, ultimately, God is in control. The chapter highlights that humility involves acknowledging God's sovereignty in our lives. It means recognizing that our plans and desires are subject to His will, and that true success comes from aligning ourselves with His purposes. Proverbs 16 emphasizes that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humility also extends to our interactions with others. It involves treating everyone with respect, regardless of their social status or accomplishments. The humble are not concerned with proving themselves or seeking recognition. They are content to serve others and to let their actions speak for themselves. Proverbs 16 reminds us that humility is not about thinking less of ourselves, but about thinking of ourselves less. It is in emptying ourselves of pride and self-importance that we make room for God's grace and blessing to flow through us. Humility is the foundation for healthy relationships, both with God and with others.
Section 7, The Importance of Prudence. Proverbs 17 focuses on the importance of prudence, emphasizing its role in our words, actions, and relationships. The chapter begins by stating that better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting with strife. This proverb highlights the value of peace and harmony, even if it means sacrificing material abundance. The chapter emphasizes that prudence involves careful consideration and discernment. It means thinking before we speak, weighing the potential consequences of our words. It means choosing our friends wisely, surrounding ourselves with those who will encourage us in righteousness. Proverbs 17 also highlights the importance of loyalty and trustworthiness in relationships. It warns against gossip and slander, reminding us that a whisperer separates close friends. True friends are loyal, supportive, and trustworthy, offering encouragement and accountability. This chapter encourages us to cultivate prudence in all areas of our lives. It challenges us to be thoughtful in our words, wise in our actions, and discerning in our relationships. By embracing prudence, we demonstrate wisdom and maturity. building a life characterized by peace, integrity, and strong connections with others.
Section 8. The Value of a Friend. Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 delves into the profound value of true friendship, emphasizing its importance for encouragement, accountability, and navigating life's challenges. The chapter begins by stating that a man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. This proverb highlights the dangers of isolation and the importance of surrounding ourselves with wise counsel. The chapter emphasizes that true friends are a gift from God. They stick closer than a brother, offering unwavering support through thick and thin. They are a source of strength and encouragement, helping us to stay the course when we are tempted to give up. Proverbs 18 also highlights the importance of being a good friend. It encourages us to be loyal, trustworthy, and quick to forgive. It reminds us that iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. True friends challenge us to grow, hold us accountable, and help us to become the best versions of ourselves. This chapter challenges us to examine our own friendships. Are we surrounding ourselves with people who encourage us in righteousness and challenge us to grow? Are we being the kind of friend that others can rely on for support, encouragement, and accountability? Proverbs 18 reminds us that true friendship is a precious gift, one that enriches our lives and helps us to navigate the complexities of life with wisdom and grace.
Section 9. The Consequences of Pride. Proverbs 19. Proverbs 19 returns to the theme of pride, highlighting its destructive consequences and contrasting it with the blessings of humility. The chapter begins by stating that better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is perverse in his lips and is a fool. This proverb emphasizes that true worth is found not in wealth or status, but in integrity and humility. The chapter emphasizes that pride leads to destruction. It blinds us to our own faults, making us resistant to correction and prone to making poor decisions. It damages relationships, creates division, and ultimately separates us from God, who opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. In contrast, humility is the path to wisdom and blessing. The humble recognize their limitations, acknowledge their need for God, and treat others with respect. They are teachable, willing to learn from their mistakes and from others. This openness to learning leads to greater understanding, stronger relationships, and a life characterized by peace and fulfillment. Proverbs 19 challenges us to root out pride from our hearts and cultivate humility in its place. It encourages us to examine our motives, to be quick to listen and slow to speak, and to value others above ourselves. By embracing humility, we align ourselves with God's heart and open ourselves to His blessings and favor.
Section 10. The Importance of Diligence. Proverbs 20. Proverbs 20 concludes this section by emphasizing the importance of diligence, contrasting it with the pitfalls of laziness and procrastination. The chapter begins by stating that wine is a mocker, strong drink is a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. This proverb serves as a metaphor for the dangers of any form of indulgence or addiction that hinders our productivity and clouds our judgment. The chapter emphasizes that diligence is essential for success in all areas of life. Whether in our work, relationships, or personal pursuits, it is through consistent effort and perseverance that we achieve our goals and experience true fulfillment. Proverbs 20 reminds us that the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. In contrast, laziness and procrastination lead to regret and missed opportunities. The sluggard desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich, the proverb states. Those who delay taking action or who lack the discipline to persevere often find themselves falling short of their potential and living with a sense of unfulfilled longing. Proverbs 20 challenges us to cultivate diligence in all areas of our lives. It encourages us to be proactive, to set goals, to develop healthy habits, and to persevere even when faced with challenges or setbacks. By embracing diligence as a way of life, we position ourselves for success, experience the satisfaction of a job well done, and live lives characterized by purpose and productivity.
Proverbs 21 delves into the weighty concepts of justice, righteousness, and the exercise of power. It contrasts the ways of the righteous and the wicked, highlighting the consequences of their actions. The chapter begins by stating that the king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. This powerful image underscores God's sovereignty, even over those in positions of authority. The chapter emphasizes that true justice and righteousness are pleasing to God. Those who seek to do what is right, who are honest in their dealings and compassionate towards the oppressed, find favor in His sight. Proverbs 21 reminds us that God sees all, and He weighs the motives of our hearts. Our actions have consequences, not only in the physical realm but also in our relationship with Him. Proverbs 21 also warns against the dangers of pride, arrogance, and the abuse of power. Those who exploit others for personal gain, who twist justice for their own benefit, will ultimately face God's judgment. The chapter reminds us that true power is found not in domination, but in humility and righteousness. As we reflect on this chapter, we are challenged to examine our own lives. Are we seeking justice and righteousness in all that we do? Are we using our influence, whether great or small, to uplift others and promote what is good? Proverbs 21 reminds us that our choices matter, not only for ourselves but for those around us and for the legacy we leave behind.
Proverbs 22 shifts its focus to the nature of wealth, warning against its deceptive allure and emphasizing the importance of seeking true riches. The chapter begins by stating that a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold. This proverb challenges the common notion that wealth equates to happiness and fulfillment. It reminds us that true wealth lies in our character, our relationships, and our standing before God. The chapter emphasizes that while wealth can provide temporary security and comfort, it can also be a source of temptation and pride. Those who place their trust in riches rather than in God set themselves up for disappointment and ruin. Proverbs 22 reminds us that wealth is fleeting, but true riches found in wisdom, righteousness, and a heart for God endure forever. Proverbs 22 also highlights the importance of investing in the next generation. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it, the proverb says. This timeless wisdom underscores the responsibility of parents and mentors to instill godly values and principles in young people, shaping their character and guiding them towards a life of purpose and meaning. As we reflect on this chapter, we are challenged to examine our own priorities. Are we chasing after material wealth at the expense of our relationships, our integrity, and our relationship with God? Proverbs 22 reminds us that true wealth is not measured by what we possess, but by what we value and the legacy we leave behind.
Proverbs 23 turns its attention to the importance of compassion and generosity, particularly towards those less fortunate. The chapter begins by cautioning against gluttony and overindulgence, reminding us that the appetite of the sluggard kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. This proverb serves as a metaphor for the dangers of excess and the importance of moderation in all areas of life. The chapter emphasizes that true generosity flows from a heart of compassion. It's not simply about giving out of obligation or social pressure, but about genuinely caring for the well-being of others, particularly those who are struggling. Proverbs 23 reminds us that when we are generous towards the poor, we are lending to the Lord, and He will repay us. Proverbs 23 also highlights the importance of seeking wisdom and understanding. Buy truth and do not sell it. Buy wisdom, instruction, and understanding, the proverb says. This emphasizes that knowledge and wisdom are valuable commodities, worth more than any material possession. We should diligently seek them out, treasure them, and allow them to guide our lives. As we reflect on this chapter, we are challenged to cultivate a heart of compassion and generosity. Are we mindful of the needs of those around us, particularly those less fortunate? Are we willing to share our resources, time, and talents to make a difference in the lives of others? Proverbs 23 reminds us that true fulfillment comes not from accumulating wealth, but from living generously and making a positive impact on the world around us.
Proverbs 24 delves into the destructive nature of envy and greed. It warns against their corrosive effects on our hearts and relationships. Envy and greed are like a consuming fire, eating away at our contentment and joy. True peace comes from cultivating a heart of contentment, gratitude, and generosity.
Proverbs 25 delves into the complexities of leadership, offering insights into wise governance, the importance of righteous judgment, and the dangers of flattery. The chapter begins by stating that it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. This proverb highlights the importance of diligence, wisdom, and discernment in leadership. The chapter emphasizes that true leadership involves seeking understanding before making judgments. It warns against hasty decisions, urging leaders to carefully consider all sides of an issue before taking action. Proverbs 25 reminds us that true justice is impartial, treating everyone fairly and with respect, regardless of their social status or position. Proverbs 25 also cautions against the dangers of flattery. Just as gold is tested by fire, so hearts are tested by the praise of a man, the proverb says. Flattery can be seductive, leading us to believe our own hype and lose sight of our flaws. Wise leaders surround themselves with trustworthy advisors who are willing to speak truth to power, offering honest feedback and constructive criticism. As we reflect on this chapter, we are challenged to consider our own roles, whether in positions of leadership or in our everyday lives. Are we approaching situations with humility, seeking to understand before making judgments? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who will challenge us and hold us accountable? Proverbs 25 reminds us that true wisdom lies in seeking counsel, listening to diverse perspectives, and making decisions with integrity and fairness.
Proverbs 26 focuses on the dangers of flattery and recognizing fools. Like snow in summer, honor is not fitting for a fool. Flattery can be deceptive and manipulative. True friends speak truth, challenging us to grow. Arguing with a fool is like catching the wind. Sometimes it's best to walk away from an argument. Develop discernment in interactions with others. Seek wise counsel and avoid unnecessary arguments.
Section 7. A time for everything. Proverbs 27. Proverbs 27 explores the cyclical nature of life, the importance of balance, and the value of true friendship. There is a time and a season for everything under the sun. Embrace the present moment, appreciating each season for what it offers. Proverbs 27 also highlights the importance of true friendship. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Life is a journey best traveled with true friends, finding joy in the present moment.
Section 8, Humility before Honor, Proverbs 28. Proverbs 28 delves into righteousness, integrity, and the consequences of wickedness. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Humility allows us to recognize our limitations and seek wisdom. The path of righteousness leads to life, blessing, and true fulfillment.
Section 9. The Allure and Danger of Power. Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29 explores leadership, justice, and righteousness. A wise ruler brings stability, but abuse of power leads to downfall. Uncontrolled anger causes regret. True strength is mastering emotions. Reflect on using influence to promote justice and hold leaders accountable.
Section 10. A Mother's Legacy, Proverbs 30. Proverbs 30 stands out as a unique chapter, containing the wise sayings of Allure, son of Jacob. This chapter is characterized by its humility, its poignant observations about life, and its profound reverence for God. Allure reflects on the wonders of creation, the mysteries of the natural world, and the complexities of human nature. Proverbs 30 concludes with a powerful admonition about the destructive nature of pride and arrogance. True wisdom begins with a humble heart, a willingness to learn, and a deep reverence for the Creator of all things.
Section 1. A Tapestry of Timeless Wisdom. As we conclude our journey through the book of Proverbs, we stand in awe of the tapestry of timeless wisdom woven through its pages. From the opening verses, calling us to embrace wisdom and understanding, to the closing Proverbs, reminding us of the dangers of pride and the importance of humility, the book of Proverbs has offered us a profound and practical guide for living a life of purpose, integrity, and meaning. We have journeyed through the bustling marketplaces of ancient Israel, listening to the voices of wisdom personified, calling out to the simple and the foolish to turn from their ways and embrace knowledge. We have delved into the hearts of kings and commoners, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, gleaning insights into the complexities of human nature, the challenges of relationships, and the pursuit of a life well lived. Throughout this journey, we have encountered timeless truths that transcend time and culture, speaking to the deepest longings of the human heart. We have been challenged to examine our own lives, to confront our shortcomings, and to embrace the transformative power of wisdom.
Section 2. The Enduring Relevance of Ancient Wisdom. In a world often characterized by rapid change, technological advancements, and a constant barrage of information, it is remarkable how relevant the wisdom of Proverbs remains. The challenges we face today, from relationship issues to ethical dilemmas, from financial pressures to the pursuit of identity and purpose, often have their roots in the same human frailties that Proverbs addresses. The book's insights into human nature, its understanding of temptation and sin, its emphasis on integrity, humility, and the fear of the Lord, resonate just as deeply in the 21st century as they did thousands of years ago. Proverbs reminds us that true success is not measured by material wealth, social status, or fleeting pleasures, but by the content of our character, the depth of our relationships, and the legacy we leave behind. In a world often obsessed with instant gratification, superficiality, and the pursuit of self-interest, the wisdom of Proverbs offers a refreshing alternative. It calls us to slow down, to think deeply, to consider the consequences of our choices, and to live with an eternal perspective.
Section 3. Proverbs. A compass for life's journey. As we navigate the complexities of life, Proverbs serves as a compass, guiding us towards a life of purpose and meaning. It provides timeless principles for making wise decisions, building strong relationships, and leaving a positive impact on the world around us. It reminds us that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, emphasizing that true wisdom flows from a right relationship with God. It encourages us to seek His guidance in all that we do, trusting in His wisdom rather than leaning on our own limited understanding. Proverbs also highlights the importance of integrity, humility, diligence, and compassion as essential virtues for a life well lived. It warns against the pitfalls of pride, greed, envy, and anger, reminding us that our choices have consequences not only for ourselves but also for those around us.
Section 4. Embracing wisdom, transforming lives. The wisdom of Proverbs is not merely a collection of intellectual concepts or moral platitudes, it is an invitation to embark on a transformative journey. It is in the application of these timeless truths to our daily lives that we experience their power to shape our character, guide our decisions, and transform our relationships. As we embrace the wisdom of Proverbs, we begin to see the world through a different lens. We prioritize integrity over expediency, compassion over judgment, and humility over pride. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude, finding joy in the blessings of the present moment rather than constantly striving for more. This journey of transformation is not always easy. It requires us to confront our own shortcomings, to challenge our assumptions, and to be willing to change. But the rewards are immeasurable. As we allow the wisdom of Proverbs to penetrate our hearts and minds, we experience greater peace, deeper joy, and a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment.
Section 5. Living Proverbs in the 21st Century. While the book of Proverbs was written thousands of years ago, its wisdom remains strikingly relevant for navigating the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. Here are a few practical ways we can apply the wisdom of Proverbs to our modern lives. Proverbs emphasizes the importance of listening before speaking, seeking to understand rather than to be understood. In both our online and offline interactions, let us use our words to encourage, uplift, and speak truth with grace and love. Proverbs reminds us that the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. Whether in our careers or personal pursuits, let us approach our work with integrity, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. Proverbs offers numerous insights into financial stewardship, encouraging us to avoid debt, save for the future, and be generous with what we have. In a consumer-driven culture, Proverbs reminds us to find contentment in the blessings of the present moment, cultivating a spirit of gratitude. Proverbs emphasizes that wisdom is a lifelong pursuit. Embrace a posture of humility, recognizing that you don't have all the answers, and be open to learning from others. Proverbs encourages us to seek out wise advisors, people who will challenge us, hold us accountable, and encourage us to grow in wisdom and integrity. Make time for prayer, Bible study, and reflection, seeking God's guidance in all areas of your life. Proverbs encourages us to let our light shine, sharing our faith with those around us through our words and actions.
As we conclude our journey through the book of Proverbs, we are reminded that wisdom is not meant to be hoarded, but shared. Just as the writers of Proverbs pass down their insights to future generations, so too are we called to be conduits of wisdom, sharing the truths we have learned with those around us. The legacy of wisdom is passed down through generations, not only through written words but also through the example of our lives. As we strive to live by the principles we have gleaned from Proverbs, we become living examples of wisdom in action, inspiring and encouraging those around us. Whether we are parents, mentors, teachers, friends, or simply fellow travelers on this journey of life, we have the opportunity to leave a legacy of wisdom, impacting the lives of those around us for generations to come.
Section 7. A call to action. Live wisely. The book of Proverbs is not merely a collection of wise sayings to be admired from a distance. It is a call to action. It challenges us to take the wisdom we have gleaned from its pages and apply it to our daily lives, transforming our thoughts, our words, and our actions. The choice is ours. Will we heed the call to wisdom, embracing its transformative power and allowing it to shape our lives? Or will we ignore its timeless truths, continuing down a path that ultimately leads to regret and ruin? The journey of wisdom is not a solitary one. We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, those who have gone before us, who have left a legacy of wisdom for us to follow. Let us encourage one another, hold each other accountable, and spur each other on in this lifelong pursuit of wisdom.
Section 8. The Journey Continues. As we close the book of Proverbs, we recognize that our journey of wisdom is far from over. The pursuit of wisdom is a lifelong endeavor, one that requires constant learning, reflection, and application. There will be times when we stumble, when we make mistakes, when we fall short of the wisdom we have embraced. But let us not be discouraged. Proverbs reminds us that the righteous may fall 7 times, but they rise again. Let us approach each new day with a renewed commitment to seeking wisdom, to living with integrity, and to making a positive impact on the world around us. The journey continues, and the adventure of wisdom awaits.
Section 9. Wisdom's Guiding Light. As we navigate the complexities of life, let the wisdom of Proverbs be our guiding light. Let its timeless truths illuminate our paths, shaping our character, guiding our decisions, and enriching our relationships. May we be known as people of wisdom, those who seek understanding, who value integrity, who practice humility, and who live with an eternal perspective. The world desperately needs the wisdom found in the book of Proverbs. Let us be beacons of light, reflecting the truths we have learned, sharing the hope we have found, and making a difference in the world around us.
Section 10. A Life Worth Living. The pursuit of wisdom is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is about living a life worth living. It is about embracing our full potential as human beings, created in the image of God, and living in a way that honors Him and blesses others. As we conclude our journey through the book of Proverbs, let us be inspired to live lives characterized by purpose, integrity, compassion, and joy. Let us leave a legacy of wisdom that will impact generations to come. The wisdom of Proverbs is a gift, one that has the power to transform our lives and the world around us. Let us embrace it fully, live it out authentically, and share it generously.